Alright guys, it's been a week since I last posted a video about Project Typhoon X. This is the Typhoon X. They made a GNX, why not make a Typhoon X? Well, I guess I got to do that. So anyway, the problem is the auxiliary heat exchanger that I want to add to the front here does not fit. Even if I cut the neck off, which was the plan, the filler neck, and a few things, basically Frozen Boost and all of them other companies, they tell you the core size, but they don't tell you with the tanks. They don't tell you, you have to really dig deep to find out. But the initial, you're thinking it's a 12 by 12, and that would go with maybe a little bit of trimming. But that's not the case. It's not a 12 by 12. It's at least 14 high, and probably about 12 and a half wide. So I didn't mind to do a little modifications, but no good. So, by the way, if anybody's interested in this guy, it's for sale. They're $150 plus shipping. I'll do 100. Shoot me an IM, a private message on the Facebook, and I'm gladly. I was going to keep it. I was going to hold on to it because I know one day probably I have something to do with it. But I have enough stuff piling up, and if somebody can use it, I'd like to give it to somebody that can use it. So $100. It's never been used or abused or rigged or changed or anything, and I have all the stuff that goes with it. The cap, the petcock that goes on the bottom. The caps are still on it, so nothing's been flown through it. Save yourself some money. Anyway, so basically plan B. And what's plan B? To find another type of heat exchanger. I went through all the trouble of moving the transmission cooler. Not the biggest deal, but whatever. Still takes time, still takes money, still takes aches and pains and broken knuckles. But that's why we do this anyway. I guess if all that didn't happen, we wouldn't bother doing it. I really believe that. I really believe that things that just are easy, we get bored of. As human beings, anything that's easy, we get bored of. Anything that's hard becomes like at least with me, it becomes like a magnet to get it done. To be able to conquer it, tackle it, and make it happen. But it's weird, I know, but it's just the way it is. And this shit is not easy, especially working on this truck. Okay, so bear with me, listen up, and if you have any ideas and want to kick me in the balls when I'm down, go right ahead. I deserve it. I got a Sports Machines lower double pass. I got the ATR upper. I got two 7 or whatever inch fans, nice fans from a Grizzly ATV puller fans on the back of that Sports Machines with an Aeroforce interceptor gauge that controls the fans on and off to whatever setting I want to do. Wouldn't you think that's enough cooling for this water to air to water intercooler system? No, it's not. And like they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Yeah, it ain't broken, but I'm always doing something extra. All right, so anyway, we came down to this. Bear with me. I know now that I think back, some of these things might sound stupid, but I actually thought of like a big heater core, like for a truck. I know the car little heater cores are 4 inches by 6 inches. They're tiny little things. I remember doing one in my Buick T-Type. It was a brand new one. It was maybe 1.5 inches thick, if that. And maybe the core was 4 inches by 6 inches, something like that, but minus the tanks. All right, so I couldn't find anything. I was thinking maybe a big tractor trailer or something, but I really couldn't find anything. I researched and dug all week, and that's why I didn't make any videos until today. Then I looked into motorcycle radiators. And I was, the motorcycle radiator was a good idea. The problem with a lot of motorcycle radiators, which I didn't know, is they're actually bent in the middle. They actually look like a wing or a V. And some of them are two pieces. Some motorcycle radiators have a smaller one on one side and a smaller one on the other side, and they're linked with 5/8 hose or 3/4 inch heater hose or whatever it is. yeah, we weren't doing that unless they were equal to this 12 by 12 square here. Actually, I got about 13 and a half high, and you go as far as 12 without any trimming. But like I said, if I have to do a little trimming up to where this little thing is right here, the standoff mount for the grill, you got about an inch there. If I had to do like a ½ inch of trimming, I would. But I'm not going to go too crazy. I don't want to destroy this thing. So I actually thought of fluid coolers, not transmission coolers, but oil engine coolers. And they have, some of them have a 1 inch or an inch and a half. Not an inch and a half. 1 inch to 1 1/4 is common. What do you call it? The rails, the flow pads. But basically, it comes down to is that they have agitators built into the crisscross design as it flows through the cores to, I guess, slow down the flow a little bit or something to so that the metal absorbs more heat, more contact area, whatever they do. And I wasn't sure about that with intercooling, with basically a heat exchange is a radiator. When it comes to it's a radiator. That's all it is. So then another idea came up when I said, man, I couldn't find anything. I was ready just to give up. But we never give up. So the other thing was an ATV radiator. And when I started looking into those were more practical. They're as thin as an inch. There's very few that are under an inch, but they're as thin as an inch. They go as big. They go pretty big too, some of them. Some are for ATVs and some are for, they call them a UTV, a utility sports vehicle or whatever, utility vehicle. So, it came down to the Polaris. The Polaris Scrambler is, again, go on Northern Radiators. You'll look up all the cores, and they're going to tell you the core. They're not going to tell you the tank. They're not going to tell you the filler neck. They're not going to tell you anything. I wasn't concerned with the filler neck because I'm cutting that off, and I'm just plating it over it, sealing it up. But they don't tell you anything. I called there, and I think they're up in, they're way up there, like in Montana, Northern. I don't remember. But they're way up there, many states away. I know they're mountain time. I know that. I forgot the state. I want to say Montana or in the Dakotas or something. Okay, so anyway, it came down to a Scrambler. I was looking at a Predator, and I was also looking at it would have been a double pass for a Kawasaki. But it came down to the Scrambler because it will be about 12 inches high, which I have 13 and a half here. And it will be exactly about 11 3/4 wide, and that's exactly what we have here. We have just about 12 inches. So like I said, if I have to do a little tiny shaving or trimming, no big deal. And that's what it's coming down to, guys. It's coming down to an ATV Scrambler 500 for a 2010 or 11 to 2012. I think it's 2010 to 2012 radiator. And it figures that specific radiator costs double. All the other ones you can get there, of course, they're Chinese knockoffs. You can't buy the original. The originals are $300-400. But if you buy the Chinese knockoffs, you could pay as little as $40 to as much as $80. This one, of course, has to be double because that's the size I need. Anyway, guys, I'll keep you tuned. It's going to take a week to get here, and I can't wait to get this hooked up because this was one of my things I really wanted to do. To say, hey, listen, I can't put any more cooling on here unless I went air to air, and I didn't want to go to air to air. Next video we're going to talk about, I'm thinking about doing a single fan on and off. I'm not going to spend $500 on an aluminum fan shroud with 2 Chinese fans in it worth $20. I think one big single fan, retain the stock fan shroud so I can still use my intake tube. Anyway, we're going to talk about that next. Anyway, this is Big Walt from Tweak and Tune. Bang out of here.